Jesus explains, what is a true, living faith, pleasing to God? April 6th, 1947. Message 4017 from Jesus through Bertha Dudde. Spoken by Pascal. Man shall be saved by his faith. But what is faith? When can man justly claim of himself that he believes? If spiritual teachings are presented to him, he will never be able to demand or provide proof of them, for the spiritual is beyond his intellectual activity and can never be proven. Thus, if someone believes, he must consider something to be true which cannot be proven to be true. And yet, if he wishes to be blessed, more is demanded of him than mere blind faith, consisting of the fact that man does not argue against it, seemingly accepting the ideas offered to him. It is required of him that he completely affirms within himself that he accepts a teaching, because he is truly convinced of it, even without proof. However, this inner conviction will always be the product of mental activity, of an opinion on what he is asked to believe. This opinion must emanate from within himself, without external coercion. A doctrine must, as it were, occupy his thought for so long that he considers the pros and cons, until he has made up his own mind about it. An opinion he can now defend with conviction when he is asked to make a statement. Any doctrine of faith must be thoroughly considered before it can become actual thought. Otherwise, one only speaks of a blind faith, completely worthless before God. The conclusion he reaches through reflection depends on his will for truth and his desire for God, unconsciously driving him to love as well. Truly, God will not leave a sincere seeker of truth in error if he makes himself worthy of the truth along his journey through his life. However, since error is widespread in the world, since the Prince of Lies seeks to spread darkness everywhere and extinguish all light, it is understandable that error has taken hold among humanity. For God is mindful of everyone's free will, and his sanctified word, guaranteeing the purest truth, is also at the mercy of the people's free will. Consequently, it is up to man's will to believe or not when he examines the individual teachings and takes a stand on them. However, to be able to be convinced, he absolutely must examine it, i.e., he must concern himself with it. And if his desire is earnest and he fulfills the conditions God imposes in order to hand out spiritual knowledge, then his thinking will be enlightened, and all will be clear and evident to him, to which his heart will respond affirmatively. That is when he may say with conviction, even without proof, "I believe." How else could erroneous teachings be recognized as such? And how could God demand responsibility from the people if it were his will that intellectual activity be eliminated and unconditional blind faith take its place? The people would not be responsible, except for the few who seek to spread this teaching and make all resistance impossible by demanding blind faith. But this is not God's will, as it is only through mental activity that the work of the soul begins, which usually goes unnoticed initially. Through mental activity, the connection to the spiritual kingdom is first established, and the beings of light may then take action and begin to instruct. But this is impossible if man believes blindly. He may certainly come to a satisfying conclusion if he is serious about truthful knowledge, about his attitude towards God, and about his soul. For God will not leave those in darkness who seek the light, and man will always be satisfied with the mental result if he has gained it after faithful prayer to God, who alone can give him information as to whether and when he is thinking correctly. If you believe in a God of love, wisdom, and omnipotence, then this shall suffice in order to gain a convinced faith in the teachings that originated from God, as well as to recognize what was added thereto by man, and to what extent these additions correspond to the truth. For God, as the eternal truth, will always help man and order his thinking. He will grant him the power of discernment, if only he is willing to recognize what is right and to stand up for the truth, for what he recognizes as truth, for the good of his fellow men. For God wishes for the truth to be spread, because it alone leads ever higher, granting bliss. Amen.